G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners. Welcome to Barkarati, the sailing podcast. My name is Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course, I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
How are you, bud?
Well, done and dusted here in Portugal. I've got a Saturday night to live through and then I'm on a plane to UK.
UK?
Yep. Going to go and spend some fun in the sun. The late November sun.
Yeah, make sure you pack your sunscreen for that one, mate.
Well, I actually, Dicey, you'd laugh when you get introduced into the show. I went to I have a suitcase at the yard and I opened it up and there is my Team Origin gear.
Oh,
so I've snapped that and I've also got the World Series what do you call it? The World Sailing Series slam jacket. So I'll be wearing some paraphernalia up there.
cool.
Come on, put us in.
Put
us in.
Come on, put him in. He wants to talk about it.
Let's bring in the other
That was
guy.
an awkward silence, wasn't it?
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick
I,
Bice.
I
hanging
was
out.
going to say before the awkward silence, all you need is your Dew Barrys and your Laracus, and you're straight into the King and Queen.
Mate,
Mate, all you got-
I'm looking. Well, you got to know that we've moved on from the Dubarrys. We're now Mustos, so the Musto
Yeah, there we
boots
go.
and the Laracus still stands though.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, correct.
With my old Team Origin Musto gear, I'll be looking the goods.
Henry Lloyd, by the way.
Henry
It was
Lloyd,
back in the
Lloyd
day.
was it? Yeah, you're
Yep.
right. I haven't seen it for a few years. I got to admit.
Speaking of which, I'll be seeing all those guys this week coming up.
There you go.
Just landed in Amsterdam, ready for Mets.
Mm.
Which this year Mets is combined with the World Yacht Racing Forum.
Oh,
That'll be fun.
So just to make a busier week even busier, they've got the yacht racing forum going on as well. So yeah, stand by. Let's see how that pans out. But she's going to be chock a block. You've done it a couple
Barkarati
of
getting
times
put
up
into
here,
the Hall of Fame. Is
boys.
it Barkarati coming into the Hall of Fame?
Barkarati. Well, I am doing a bit of a talk as part of the yacht racing forum, just on some mast stuff.
There you go.
And Matt Sheehan sent me a note saying, because he's going to be doing the emceeing. And I just said, we'll just roll into a live episode of Barkarati. I won't have to talk about what's the impact on mast design for if you're using structured luff sails. No way.
Yeah.
We'll just go
No, bugger that. Straight into the Barkarati. Talk
straight
about
into
Barkarati.
Barkarati live.
Talk about
So anyone
Barkarati.
around, come visit us. I think Hall 11, where we're located. So hanging out. Yeah, check it out. Southern Sparks.
Just talking about Barkarati, bit of a shout out to my old mate Bill Goggins. I was trying to catch up with him on Friday night, in Leamington, but I missed my flight. So he's going to catch up with you and said that in my absence, he'll have a beer with you.
Oh. I'll have to check. Depends if it's during business hours or not.
oh.
Rightio.
Yeah,
Look forward to catching up with everyone at Mets.
I was just sitting here going, as
enjoy
if you're
your
not
time
going to go to the Harkin stand for the networking event.
No. Well, for networking
Yeah, that's
only.
right, for networking
Exactly.
purposes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Okay, good. Everyone's out there working. I actually think we're all going to be overseas as of next week, which is going to be an interesting one. But speaking of important things, there's so much been happening in the world of sailing. It's been the year of sailing, really. It's been amazing, and of course, Olympics, America's Cup, the 1 meter worlds, the Vendee, and now SailGP kicks back in, and there's all sorts of stuff been going on in SailGP world, and traditionally, can I say traditionally, we haven't been going that long where it's become a tradition.
Probably.
Of course, you can say traditionally.
Yeah. Okay. So traditionally, we get a young fella, a sort of up and coming young lad from the sort of back backwaters of Australia who's got a little bit of interest in getting behind a mic. It's like our intern, our sort of, you know, he's good with sign.
The original.
Good with sign language, I suddenly discovered. A young fella that's got a lot of passion for the old SailGP, and you know, we come on and we have a bit of banter about what's going to go up, and I'm sure he's actually got all the notes on what we discussed last time. But anyway, let's welcome one of our great friends to the show, Mr. Jody Shiels. How are you, bud?
Oh, gentlemen, thank you very much for having me back on as an intern. I feel honoured to be in the presence of the world champion Twiddler commentary team. So,
glad you brought it up, Jodes. What an effort that was,
mate. I just sat there for hours and hours and hours watching the little twiddlers going up and down, listening to Jordan, taking notes. And as an intern, you've got to do that sort of thing, you know, because if you want to be the greatest, you've got to emulate the greatest. So, Jordan, I've loved what you've done, mate, over the last 7.5 months of twiddling. So it's been great. It's been great to watch.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
And gentlemen, good to have joined you, BP and Bicey. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah, you too, mate. You too. Been tracking you as you've been bounding across the globe in the last few months or so. What was it? Uluru, I saw you went to.
Yeah, Bali.
BS Rock, as they used to call it back in the day. Up and down around Bali, and more recently, Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and the Minister for Finance and Good Times, mate, we've decided to spend some of our money we don't have and just go and explore this beautiful world. So we're ticking some boxes. And as you said, we've just been to Japan for Bo Outridge's wedding, which was pretty amazing. Never thought he'd get married, but he did. And that was one for the books. It was certainly pretty cool.
Good on you.
Did you have to wear your traditional kimono as well?
I think they get a kimono around my big fat beluga, but no, we just had to wear suits, mate. We're just in the bag of fruit. It was beautiful. Good wedding.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
At least it was a kimono and not a sumo suit.
Well, I tell you, mate, I'd be certainly fitting the right to the sumo suit the way I'm blowing out at the moment. Like
I didn't mean to be derogatory. I didn't mean it that way.
This is going well.
I just thought, you know, there's only two suits we know about Japan. There's the kimono and the sumo. So.
and the sake suit, I tell you, that stuff is wicked.
Yeah, well,
quite ironic. I'm sitting in a Japanese.
It is ironic
themed room, and look at this. I've got on my desk. This is good for podcasting.
A true concubine.
It's a little Japanese doll.
Wow, you really are.
I'm a bit worried about what sort of room you're in, Bicey.
That's what I'm concerned about.
I am in Amsterdam, so
yeah, that's right.
Stand by. Might be another podcast coming up.
All right.
Righto.
Okay, so it goes again. Was it the 5th season now of SailGP? We're going again. It's been in a probably the most interesting off season for SailGP.
Oh yeah.
It's the first time where it's actually really, you know, you can feel that that event has really got some certainty about it now. You know, there's no sort of this is good, let's keep going. Now it's like, this is established, right, let's get our team, we've got money, we've got, you know, all this stuff is happening, and it feels solid. And now it's just a sporting league, and all the different things that happen in sporting leagues are happening, and we're actually, you know, it's the first time it really has that feeling in sailing.
Almost a pre-season draft.
The draft and the transfers and all the things that are going on. I mean, new events, new teams. Is anybody fired up, or is everyone just you know?
Oh, mate, I'm just waiting for you to get your behind-the-scenes commentary, because you're going to be close to it, right? And basically,
for a few of the events,
you're going to be there.
Yeah.
On the transfers and the ownerships and that sort of, I guess that was the vision from day one. And given it's taken 5 or 6 years to get there, I'm guessing they wanted it to get into that position after probably 2, 3, 4 years. But it, like you say, it feels established. feels established. I don't know if that's good or bad, though.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think, well, they've announced some massive partnerships just in the last couple of days with Emirates. As signing them on for 5 years. That's pretty. 5 years is.
Well, it's a commitment, isn't it?
That's pretty impressive. Absolutely. They're obviously they obviously can see that it's going nowhere, and obviously old Russell's grabbed everything, threw it in his shaker bag, and just mixed it up and said, right, whatever lands, because to see some of the Kiwis and drop out of their team, and people going left, right, and centre, and this has all sort of been announced in only the last sort of few days / week, but obviously it's happened prior, and they've just kept their cards pretty close to their chest. But talk about mixing it up. It's crazy. I'm not sure whether that's good either, to be honest.
No, it's just the elite, the world professional sailing. I mean, why not? It happens in all sports.
Yeah, it does. I think the nationality side of SailGP, that's in the bin now.
100%.
When it first got sort of introduced, it was going to be, you had to be from the nation of the team, and or if it's a development team like Japan was, you had to be there for a couple of years, and then each person dropped out until it was a fully fledged nationality team. But I think that's gone. It's which is probably good, to be honest. You can have these drafts and transfers and make it stronger. It's it's certainly Jesus. Some of these guys are going to turn up at the base and not know where to go.
You're going to walk into the wrong room. What are you doing
You're
here?
Have to take their hat off and look and see what hat they're wearing to bloody go in. I'll turn up at the wrong bloody team, Bruce. It'll be crazy.
I think there is absolutely going to be an element of that too in Dubai, because they're all in they're all laid sideways. They're not across from each other. They're all down one line, basically. Except the POMs are slightly offset.
Well, humans are creatures of habit. It's going to be an interesting thing.
that will be quite funny. And of course, one of the big discussion points is we've added 2 teams at Dubai, the first event. The French team are out because they're waiting on their new boat. They had that traumatic finish to the season where they, did all that damage to the rudder. They could have been in the final. Spain got through into the final and then won the whole season. But they'd come back, and so they get average points for the first event in Dubai, and then they join back in Auckland, which is the second event, assuming it is in Auckland and we don't have that sort of crazy thing that happened last year. But from what I understand, we won't be going down.
Won't be going back to the Dolphins.
Yeah, back to the Dolphins. So,
the Dolphins won't be managing our lives.
Yeah. So we're going to end up with this situation where we have 11 teams in Dubai, but it's a 12-team season, and with the addition of Italy and Brazil. Any thoughts?
12 boats on that start line is going to be absolutely off the charts. And then we're going to throw in, and I haven't got the run sheets. I'm guessing you're going to talk about it, Jordan, but we're going to throw in the T-foils come New Zealand.
Well, how do you know that's next on the list?
Is it?
You're lying. You have got the run sheet, mate. Look, I've even got the run sheet.
I don't have anything, my friend. I'm just sitting here running blind. But it's 12
That's what we normally do anyway.
Yeah, on that start line. We noticed a difference, like when a couple of boats couldn't make it. I think it was Canada. 2 boats couldn't make it off the start line because of the craneage. It seemed like there was a lot more room
space
all of a sudden. But now we're adding 2 more boats, and that start line is going to be hecko, mate. It is going to be crazy.
Oh yeah.
And I suspect you're going to see a lot more boats starting like the Germans did in Sydney, getting away from the box and coming in super late, tacking underneath the fleet, just because there's just going to be no room. It's going to be too much barging. I reckon that's going to be a super tactic that a lot of teams will start employing. Only problem is it's hard to wind up doing that sort of stuff. But
are the T-foils going to help with that? Do we know, or they're more for the top end?
I'm scared as shit about those T-foils, to be brutally honest, boys. It's one of the things that I wrote a post there a while ago about SailGP. One of the things I love about SailGP is that they encourage close quarters racing. You know, they obviously get hit with penalty points and fines if there's rubbing and damage. But the fact that you can be within half a metre of a boat coming around a windward or leeward mark, that was very appealing in SailGP. Now all of a sudden you've got this bloody tin can slicer hanging out the side.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, obviously the windward side's up. And, you've got a boat coming through with this. Well, how far are they, Jordan? 1.5 metres either side of the main foil. So probably about, 2.5, 3 metres wide?
Yeah, they're exactly. They're probably not quite 3, but around that sort of thing. And they're vicious looking things. They're absolutely, and you're exactly right. All the foils were facing into the centre of the boat with, the J foil or the L foil, whatever you want to call it, but the current setup. But yeah, with the T foil, and it's titanium. It's
they're not going to snap.
No.
Fuck, I might have to have a word to our future fibres colleagues just to ensure that the bottom couple of metres of the leeward shrouds have the correct
reinforcing, you reckon?
Yeah.
I can just see, I just hope we don't end up with this bloody ridiculous situation where you end up with this invisible force field around your boat, and then it's going to just spread the racing out. Yeah, and I don't want to bag the America's Cup, but the America's Cup has that triangle thing that they run, and it's I get it; it's for safety. I understand all that, but part of the beauty of SailGP was that they could really get in amongst each other and literally put your hand out and tap the other boat if you wanted to, but that's going to go. And they're only using these T-foils in the high end. So half the bloody places we're going to go to is going to be a drift fest. So, but yeah, I'm worried about it. I really am. I'd hate to be a strategist or whatever that's stuck to leeward looking for boats, and you see this T-foil coming out at you at 50 odd knots screaming across the first reach. No thanks.
So for the listeners, the T-foils, as Jody says, they're new in for this season. Exactly what it sounds like, a T-foil. They're made from titanium. The reason they're going to the T-foils is that they can be built with thinner cord or less cord thickness. So what that means is they're lower drag, and therefore the top speed of the SailGP boats now will step up. So we've been maxing out around that 50 knots on SailGP boats. When we saw the America's Cup, though, America's Cup boats, well, they get up to 55, 56 sort of thing on a bearaway. And remember, they had basically a stainless steel foil on the bottom of the America's Cup boats. And so there's more speed. Like they can post a bigger number, but there's all these other consequences of it. And I guess we might as well discuss it. From a sailing perspective, I wonder, the sailors, the flight controllers are completely used to using these, the current foil structure setup. And so it's become subconscious, some of the top flight controllers are completely subconscious. Does this move to the new foils suddenly re-equalise the field, because those sort of elite level flight controllers have got to reconfigure themselves. Yeah.
Well, it's only obvious that they're going to have to spend time relearning the boats. It's going to change the performance, isn't it?
Yeah, how the boat responds.
Those personally, I think those guys, it'll come quite naturally to them. They're sailing across a bunch of different foiling boats, most of them, I would suggest. So I wouldn't imagine that's too much. But easy way to fix it, if you wanted to hit the top speed, just give it the old Italian new boat treatment. and just dial the speedo up a little bit.
I love it.
I've got to ask you, boys, as sailors and lovers of watching sailing, are you more interested in seeing a boat, two boats, three boats, whatever, hit a top speed at a certain time, or more interested in overall close racing?
Yeah, the close racing couldn't give two
Get the
tosses.
J24 out for sure.
Yeah, but
yeah, and I think for the pursuit, and you've got to be careful sometimes what you wish for. The pursuit of speed, something's got to give. There's got to be a consequence for everything. And I think I really hope that I'm wrong, but I really think this T-foil introduction is going to take a little bit away from SailGP. What I love about SailGP, I don't know whether everyone else is into that sort of close racing, cowboy sort of stuff, aka Phil Robertson. And that's going to go when these T-foils are on. It has to go because it's going to be dangerous to be that close.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying it for a bit. We're not far off we've had a couple of big accidents across the foiling world, but we're not far off an actual massive one. I'm thinking. I hope not. I definitely hope not. And I hope this isn't the route of something going to happen, but it makes you nervous.
Rewind back to Sydney when Ben cut the bow off the Japanese boat.
Yeah.
And remember the two grinders in the Japanese, Tim and Leo, I think it was at that time. Tim had his back turned to it, and if he didn't jump out of the cockpit, he would have had the pretty much the centerboard at that stage hit him right in the back of the head. Now you imagine if that was a T-foil, you'd hate it's just. I just don't want to think about it. You know what I mean? So
do you think things? Do you think they've thought about this though? Do you think they've actually? Surely they must have.
100%. Yeah. 100% they've thought about it, but they've obviously done the risk mitigation thing and said, well, we're happy to go. We're going to put rules in place. But
it's all about the audience.
Yeah, the rules are only there to protect ourselves. It's these guys are still going to go hammer and tongs. And when you see a situation, and these guys are all competitors and girls, they're going to want to throw it in somewhere where maybe they might not fit. And who knows how it's going to end up.
Well, it's standard human mindset, right? You go to the car races to watch crashes, but that's what pulls the crowd in.
Yeah,
we're only going to have these things on when it's windy, so we're looking at high speeds. We're not in a 10-knot drift off.
Yep.
I'm worried about it. I really am.
One of the things in the marketing for SailGP is that they're the fastest boats on the planet, right? That's one of their phrases, fastest boats on the planet. And that was well and good, Ben. The new AC boats came out and have been faster, so they can't say that anymore, So now they're trying to find that maybe that's the whole thing. It's around that marketing and positioning. I don't know. Have you heard, Joe, how fast they've? Has anyone? I haven't actually heard any results from sailing of them. I haven't got any insight at all.
I think the Canadians hit 55 in practice. They were the only ones really that have had a real good crack at this thing. They just under 55 knots. Which is bloody quick.
Yeah.
It's but we're going through all this to buy ourselves 5 or 6 knots potentially. Once they dial these things in and tune them better to the boats, they might get 56, 57, maybe on the bearaways on that first reach.
Yeah.
But geez, it seems a lot of, and I understand, the carbon foils, the L foils are a lot of work. They're a lot, the guys, the tech team have a lot of work to keep these things on the water.
Yep.
That, as you know, Jordan, at the events, they bring them out, they ultrasound, and they just keep finding the laminations in them, and they're continuously fixing them, and everyone's blowing up that port foil's not the same as a starboard foil, and they just got to deal with it. So I get all that. These titanium things should be a lot better maintenance-wise. But Jesus, I don't know. I've been worried about it since I've seen it first over in New Zealand. I looked at it and I went, my God, that is a weapon.
Yeah.
It is a weapon.
So what you're saying, it's not like Bicey and Jordan's wing foil in their garage.
No, these things will actually get used.
I mean, was it?
Mine did. Well, mine did cause an injury. I walked into it when it was upside down and poked me in the eye.
Well, you know how lethal they are, then, mate.
I wonder
noodles and stick them on them.
Well, I wonder how well. I mean, will they go really well? Like when the finish mark gets placed just off that sort of first bear away mark. It'll just cut straight through.
You're never going to see that again ever in SailGP, Jordan. I think if that ever happens again, Mr. Russell
will be shot.
He'll be out with his own samurai sword, mate, and be cutting heads off. I'm telling you.
No, he's very calm.
We should never see that again. Yeah, he's very, very calm. But what I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on these T-falls, boys? It's going to be the big talking point of the season. Obviously, starting in Dubai is going to be light, but then we go straight to New Zealand, and new venue, but New Zealand's traditionally normally windy.
Yeah, it's that windy time for New Zealand that month, January. Yeah, should be.
And the T-falls are getting introduced in that event. With 12 boats on the start line, so everything's just going to be here you go, boys and girls, sort it out.
Isn't it? I was just going to say, isn't that when the turtles are all hatching just on Auckland beaches? Is that?
Oh, the turtle.
Oh, jeez.
Turtle union. There's always a bloody union involved, isn't there?
I've got my theory in that
event. Why can't just have a union be a free union?
These boats are going to have the turbo button, and a little electric motor pops out the bottom.
That's what we've discussed before.
So, and the T-falls potentially, if they have different size foils, like in the lighter air, add a bit more stability. So whether they give a bit more flight, not sure. But generally, I mean, it's going to power the boats up, well, depending on the foil size, of course, but just being a bit more out to windward as well. To leeward. So, yeah. Who knows?
The other thing of interest, right?
Start line, not much fun.
Yeah, so we got going to be crazy on the start line. So Jody's point about the tight start line, but the other thing about Dubai is if we get the traditional wind direction, then the bottom marks are only two or three boat lengths off a wall, massive wall, and so the room to fit around the bottom mark. If you come in hot with the T-foils on, or you've got
like they did last year,
or three boats coming in, she's going to be. It's that bottom, like that could be just insane, and there's no room for error as well, though.
Because you probably how much did you say they hang outside? 1.5 meters, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably. So you're adding 3 meters to the beam of the boat.
Yeah. But remember, we're not using these things in the light airs. Yeah. They're leaving the L foils in for the light. I'm not sure what the crossover is, whether it's 12, 13, 14 knots, whatever it is.
Just for the top end.
So it's just the top end, and because they've been boiling the water too much and too much cavitation, like Jordan said before. So the light air boards have done their job. They can get up and foil pretty quick without getting towed and all that sort of stuff for these boats when it's marginal. But yeah, a lot of the venues, you look at the calendar, a lot of the venues, especially in the Middle East, and that we have to think we're going to be in those light air board situations. So they're normally the real tight race courses as well. So hopefully we don't have this problem. But when we start stretching our legs in Auckland and New Zealand and Plymouth and all them sort of places, it's it's going to be. I don't know. Hopefully I'm completely off the mark with my worry. But anyway, we'll see. It's all part of it. It all adds to the fun, doesn't it?
Well, likely it's event 2 when we'll see him. Is what if you had to, guess? That's when we're likely to see him. Like probably Dubai. Hopefully we get some decent wind, but likely we'll be on the L-foils. Come to Auckland, likely we're going to be on the T-foils, and it'll be 12 boats, so we'll be fully maxed out field. and should be on. It'll be a ton of fun. The interesting thing, of course,
It'll be the first time that these new boats will sail in breeze too, Jordan.
Yeah,
because we're not going to get breeze in Dubai. I'll run around Wanji naked with a lit cigarette up my butthole if we get breeze in Dubai. It's
careful.
28 minutes, 47 seconds. Keep an eye on that.
It was exactly at 30. I love it. I love the confidence. The other thing is probably worth for the rest of the world to understand is if you do get injured in New Zealand, you're not going to get urgent medical attention because, New Zealand, and nothing to do with the health system in New Zealand. It's just Kiwis are so stoic. They'll just look at you, like if your arm's hanging off, it'll be right, mate. She'll be okay. Don't worry, let's not get over emotional about these things. You'll be good.
It's just a flesh wound.
I was wondering where this was going.
Yeah.
I could just see you just digging a hole, another hole.
No. They're Kiwis. They don't worry about stuff, you've got to be pretty hurt to get any sympathy in New Zealand.
I can vouch for that.
I just seen SailGP put in a massive order of cable ties and duct tape, so maybe that's what that was for.
Oh.
Yeah. And super glue.
First aid kit.
Cable tie, duct tape, and super glue.
The other thing we need to think about is for the season is, of course, a bunch of new events, new locations. So for one, we're going to freshwater. We're going to be on the lake at Geneva. That's an interesting one. We've got 13 events. In the US, we've got New York and San Fran again, and also LA. We go to Rio, boys. I'm interested what experience everyone's got. On the website, it says it's the UK somewhere. We all know it's going to be Portsmouth. Not Plymouth anymore.
Yeah, Portsmouth.
Portsmouth or Plymouth?
It's Portsmouth.
No, Portsmouth.
Yeah. Portsmouth. Yeah.
That's what I've been told. Then we go to Sassnitz in Germany, Taranto in Italy. I think we've got a bit of experience there. Cadiz into Spain. And then we've got a third Middle East event. So you got Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and then it says the Middle East somewhere, basically, at this stage.
I want to see what the entertainment lineup is because I can see it now. You're on your way to Dubai only for this, Jordan Spencer. That's to see Tinny Temper playing on the Saturday night, followed up by Craig David.
Yeah. I was with someone the other day, and they're looking.
I just imagine you bopping away to Craig David there, Jay.
Yeah, no.
Hey?
No.
Isn't Tinny Tebow what you get in your foot?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Somebody was looking at the other day, and they knew who those two artists were. I have no idea. Like Craig David, I've heard the name, but I've got. Is he in English? Is he English?
No.
Craig David is, or
Seppo.
isn't he?
Seppo.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you I haven't got a cassette tape with Tinny.
The only reason I say that is he was playing one night at the, I think it was a prize giving in maybe Baltimore during the Volvo. And it was like in a little amphitheatre, no bars, no nothing like that. And we've got this guy, Craig David, playing his piano, singing some songs. Within 8 minutes, everyone had gone. Gone to the bar.
It wasn't David Craig.
Any idea who he was?
Oh wow!
No, not.
Wow.
Anyway,
but you've got to hand it to like SailGP in that regard. I know they've had a few. They had Dave Dobbin in New Zealand, and the Kiwis love that.
Yeah.
Full froth fest. But that after having something to go to after the event, it's cool. It's not just right. Thanks for coming. See you later on your bike. It makes a massive big day of it, and that's only going to get more.
Better for the punter.
The punters
for sure.
come in, and they're going to love that. Go and see a rock star or an alleged rock star,
and then get the skippers up there doing shoeies and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what they should be doing.
It's the straight. It's off the
live golf of sailing.
No, the V8 supercars were doing it first, boss.
Yeah. but with the concert afterwards, well, yeah, you're right.
Jimmy Barnes.
Jimmy Barnes was doing
Jimmy
a few
Barnes.
concerts.
That's right.
He should get over to Dubai and scream his tits off over there.
Actually, that's what we should run the book on this year. What entertainment are we having in it? What venue?
Yeah, that's it.
We should start putting
That
requests
is
out.
a classic.
Get our guests to put in some input.
Not sure where Crowded House are going to go, though.
Oh,
No.
They're Australians, so they've got to go to Sydney.
yeah.
No, mix it up a bit.
Anyway,
Snoop Dogg in LA.
but I guess what
Slayer in Germany.
it's around the humour, like from a perspective of as a fan, you got a lot going on.
Frank
Like
Sinatra in New York.
you got
Ramstein back in Germany. Backing up
Germany,
Slayer.
that's a good one. Jody's right though. Like
I know you won't see P. Diddy. P. Diddy won't be in any.
Yeah,
He won't be in LA, you reckon?
P. Diddy be P. Gorney.
Igoni.
yeah, but so yeah, they do put on quite a show. So like wherever you're turning up, any events of those. So we've got some returning events, obviously Aussie and we're in Sydney and Auckland. Now Sydney was fantastic. Obviously, we're all happy with the event last year where it went around Shark Island and all that. It was good. Anything about like some of the other locations? Obviously, Geneva, non-salt water, so less buoyancy. I wonder what that effect will have. Just about nothing, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Any of the other locations, like Portsmouth, will be good. Could be really interesting.
Taranto will be, I mean, the way the Italians get behind any yachting will be phenomenal.
Yeah. And they'll have their Italian team, obviously. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So no one's really too fired up about the differences in the team, the events. What about the teams? Shall we talk about teams? And then, because this is going to take a while.
There's some big changes. Isn't there?
Huge.
Okay.
Huge. Let's start with the Aussies because that starts with A.
I was just going to say, how shall we start this? Okay.
Alphabetically.
Well, now you got me thinking what comes next.
Canada.
Oh, there you go. It's good that we've got a smart man on the show.
Brazil.
No.
Brazil, yeah.
Sorry, guys.
They've had no crew changes because they haven't started yet.
But the
they have had a couple of
Australians, we've gone from a really tight-knit little group. Tommy put a group together in season 1, and we've had one guy drop out of that, and that was the Iron Man.
Hursty.
He was the only one that's left that team in the last 5 years. Kai Hurst gone, but Kinley, Sam, Jason, Kyle, Tommy, and then the girls come in. They've all stuck as a solid unit, and that was, we always used to bash on about how they were always good because they were always a tight knit group. They were always up the top because they didn't have changes. That the same people were in the same roles. So the muscle memory was always there. And then all of a sudden, Mirrors decides to chase a paycheck, and he's gone. Kyle's out of there. So
is that confirmed? Is that the Seagull? Well, he's stretched his wings. One.
He's gone to the land of pizza and pasta.
Gone to the Italians.
I can guarantee you that. Yep, he is gone. So that's huge. I mean,
I was just going to say, Joe, it's not officially announced where he's going. We're pretty certain we know, but it's more than just money, I reckon.
Let's break it, Jordan. Let's break it here on Barcarati.
Okay, go for it.
Be the first worldwide to break it, mate. I'm guaranteeing you that he is going to the Italians.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I haven't heard that from any sources apart from a good one. He's going
he did.
to P. Diddy told me at one of his parties that Kyle Langford can't come to my party anymore because he keeps looking at all my mirrors, and he is going to the Italians.
Yeah.
There you go.
Linking back up with Jimmy Spittle. So Kyle is gone, and that's a huge out for the Australians.
Huge. There's a couple of things. So obviously on the Barcarati site, we did put up a little photo of a seagull in an Italian suit as a subtle hint for all the people. But yeah, so from Josh Torpy did send in a note that with the departure of with Langford off the Aussie boat, the weight on that Aussie boat has been reduced, not just because of the size of Langford, but obviously the less need for mirrors down at the around the mast. So that will make a difference. But
also, there was a bit of a note on less gear failure as well.
Yes, we had an awful lot.
Oh,
yeah. The
I was
test
actually
rig.
looking up for the Aussies.
It's looking up.
It is.
What about?
No.
But
Sorry, Kyle.
not the disappointing thing. I love Chris Draper, but they brought Chris Draper in.
Right.
I really can't get my head around the fact that I would have loved to have seen a young Aussie get a shot.
Yeah.
I've been having a bit of backwards and forwards with a lady, and it's all been great. And I can't remember her name on the SailGP band's website. And she said, isn't that what the Inspire program is about? I said, well, no, because there's no. When you think about what the F50s are, what's the pathway to get to an F50? What's the junior or what's the lower class that is teaching people how to use trim wing sails and all that sort of stuff and use flight control? There's
2015 America's Cup.
That's your pathway.
And so if you're a young kid getting off a 49 or off a Moth or whatever, and you go, right, I want to go and sail a class of boat that's going to potentially get me into a SailGP team, there's none. I can't think of any. Like you've got,
Yeah, you're right.
the 69 or F or whatever it is over in Lake Garda. They're still a soft sail type boat. They foil and all that sort of stuff, but there's still soft sails where there's nothing out there that is giving anybody any wing experience. See, where do you draw? If all of a sudden Langford and Chris Draper and all these people decide to pull the pin, where are we drawing our next generation of kids through that have learnt how to sail this? Or do we go back to square one and throw them on a boat cold and say, learn on the run? And you think with all the classes that we have in sailing, the amount of boats around the world, there is nothing that I can think of that gives you the experience to go and jump onto an F50 apart from the simulator. And, that's is that accessible to everyone? Probably not.
Bit of M32 sailing maybe could be one of them. There are a couple of teams that have brought in this season as reserves sailors that have come up through the Inspire League. I can't remember them all, but I do know for sure, like Magnus Overbeck, he's in as a reserve in the Danish team now, and he has come through that Inspire League, and I think he's the Wasp World Champion. So there are a few coming up that way through the Inspire League. There are a couple of sailors that are in as reserves through the Inspire League. But yeah, that ability to trim wings and fly the boats, that's the hardest thing. And so what you're saying is the Aussie should have gone a young Aussie.
I would have loved to have seen a young Aussie kid get an opportunity to get thrown, or Nina or one of the girls get thrown into that role, and got my Aussie hat on here and keep it full Australian team, because that's what we loved about the Australian team. And I know I said at the start that the nationality rule is pretty much gone in SailGP, but you can still have that core group of people that are under that flag, and to bring in a guy from England. It's a little bit sad that we haven't had some little Australian kid, boy, girl, whatever, thrown into it. So that's just my thoughts.
Okay, the exact same thing has happened, but in a slightly different role on the New Zealand team. So Andy Maloney's gone to Brazil. So he's flight controller, and they've brought in young Leo Takahashi into the role. But he's a young fella, he's 25, but he started on the Japanese boat. He was a grinder, and then I think he did a bit of flight control on the US boat from memory. So he is a young fella. The Kiwis have managed. He's sort of half Japanese, Leo. For those who don't know him, he's got a very strong New Zealand accent because he lives in New Zealand. So they've managed to get a young fella, and they've locked him in for a few years as well. So they're pretty focused on that. So you're thinking that sort of thing? Is that what you're thinking, Joe? Like, do we send them?
Yeah, I mean, Leo done flight control at the end there for Japan. In that half season they done in season 2.
Yeah,
they threw him in the flight control role. So he was. I had a chat to Nathan at the wedding of his brother's wedding, and I said at that stage we were saying who's going to fill Andy's role. I said it's got to be Leo. Has to be. It's a natural fit. He's a New Zealander. Like you said, he's half New Zealand, half Japanese. Sorry, and he's done that before. He's done the grinding. He's done the flight control. He's in the Emirates Team New Zealand system and all that sort of stuff. So he was the natural fit to go in there. Back to the Australians, we don't have that natural fit, and we've had to recruit from outside.
We also don't have the natural path in the sense of you've got this awesome SailGP team, but nothing leading up to it. Like, you don't see those Inspire kids now working for that team, do you?
No.
Like, being around, being part of it, being part of the system. Like, we don't have the Team New Zealand system in place that people can come through either. So that's a bit of a hurdle, I would suggest.
Like Jordan said, there has been a few kids that have gained roles, mainly in the tech side of things on SailGP, and now that there are a couple of getting reserve sailor positions, that's awesome. You'd have to think they'd naturally just fit straight into the grinding role. That would be my theory. You wouldn't put them on a wing straight up or flight control straight up, and they'll learn that role obviously as they go. But people are going to come in and out. Like this season's what we've got 14 events in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Right? And you can almost bet your bottom dollar there's going to be injuries or unavailabilities or whatever over the teams, and they're going to be scrambling. And if they're in key positions, they're going to be scrambling to try and find people to come and fill these positions, And it's just not. You guys say with 1,000 people over the course of the year, can you name any one of your mates who'd be able to jump on an F50 and trim that wing in a not in a training environment, in a race environment?
In a racing environment, yeah.
I think
it just doesn't happen.
Jordan would step right in there.
Well, Jordan would,
obviously.
Yeah, but he's
only on one side though.
There's only one Jordan.
Obviously,
but
I'd bring my Australian attitude and give it a good solid
crack.
Yeah, yeah, and we've seen that. Remember in season 1 when the Americans got injured and American wing trimmer got injured, they had to fly.
Hans Hanken.
Yeah, and they had to fly the most beautiful man in yachting from Fremantle. His name escapes me. He sails with
Tom Johnson.
The Danish team.
Tom Johnson.
Tommy Johnson in, but the coach had to step in for the first day on the wing, and they ended up winning the race. But it is doable. Yeah. It's doable.
It's definitely doable. You probably
it's just something that.
I think wing trim, the thing that we've emphasised on this whole for years about SailGP is, wing trim's probably the one that you could come in closest. But what people are thinking, oh well, I can trim a wing, like it's just setting up a sail. But what the whole way it affects the team, so the way SailGP boat works is it's so team orientated. You make one slight change on the wing, and then you're either going nose down or nose up. And if the flight controller's not aware or the helms person's not aware, so that's the element that's really, really, really hard to just step on a boat and get right, So if you're in windy conditions or if you're in tight situation and you make a change and the other teammates aren't aware you're making that change, then you're crashing. You're absolutely crashing.
The balance of the boat just disappears in a toggle switch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a really cool video Florian Triddle did on SailGP site. Lisa was interviewing him about, winning the event last year and how comfortable he is now in the boats and all that. And he said when he first started, he was a deer in the headlights. He He didn't know how to do it. He was always under stress and that. But now, because, not only are they trimming the wing, they've got their little toggle buttons underneath and they've got foot pedals, all that sort of stuff to contend with. He said now it's all muscle memory to him. But that's after, 2 seasons and they're the champs. Like I said, when you're out there just screaming along doing 45 knots in practice and going straight line, and probably I reckon even I'd give it a crack.
Yeah.
But, when you're in a race situation and then like you said, Jordan, one little adjustment in a twist or a camber change or whatever completely changes the balance of the boat. And if everyone isn't in sync, the boat either crashes or goes backwards. And that's going to be a difference between winning and losing races, obviously. So, it's going to be interesting. Draper coming into the Aussies, he's got to learn the Australian vernacular. He's got to learn the Australian, he's got to learn Tom. Tom, I'm not sure how much racing he's done with Tom. But it's going to be an interesting little time. Probably not in Dubai because we're going to be touch wood light airs because I don't want to run around Wanji now with a lit cigarette
up your ass.
But once we get to New Zealand,
we're holding you to that, Jody. By the way.
Oh, mate, I can't wait.
But he's regretting it now, I tell you.
Hey, Jody, we don't remember a lot of things, and we don't come through with a lot of things, but this is on the top of the list.
It'll be like when Nathan Gibbs won the Olympics, mate. It'll be a street parade. People lining the street to watch me. Fat boy run around Wanji.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly right. Let's
wait till you start blowing. Yeah, when you start blowing rings, though, they're like, "Oh shit, he's done this before."
Yeah. I've seen that guy in Thailand.
All right, so the Aussie team, it's going to be interesting. We don't think it'll work as smoothly initially. It will be very.
Oh, we're only at A. Shit.
Yeah, no, I want to split.
How long we bloody got?
Let's go to Brazil. I want to jump on Brazil because
that's B.
It's a B for one, but it's a whole new team. And they've brought in 3 bodies that are experienced. They got, I think. So
Richard Mason on board.
Mason.
We've spoken about Martine, obviously.
Andy
previously.
Maloney and Lee McMillan are the 3 that they've brought in. Martine, go on. What were you going to say, boss? Sorry, I spoke over.
Oh, no, we've spoken about, obviously, Martine being joined by her brother Marco.
And then Mateus Isaacs, the other Brazilian.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Correct.
So that'll be. I've got a lot of faith in the Brazilian teams. I think they're seat of the pants sailors. Obviously, Martine and Marco know each other backwards, and I'm pretty certain Mateus is also. They've all been sailing together their whole lives, so they're going to be pretty good. Maloney is about as good a guy as you could have on the boat. He will be very relaxed. Lee McMillan should go pretty well, and Richard Mason into the strategist role. So I think they're actually going to go better than everyone anticipates, is what I reckon.
Absolutely, and it goes back to our points, boys. Like they've brought the 2 critical roles, flight controller and wing trimmer. They've brought some really experienced people in. They haven't just gone to a Brazilian, someone inside the circle and said, right, we're going to throw you at the wolves and you're going to have to learn this on the hop. Andy Maloney has been on the New Zealand team and we all know how good they've been. And, Lee McMillan's been around as well. So they've gone into two critical roles, and with Martina driving, I think you're right, Jordan. I think they're going to come out of the box swinging. So good on them.
Lads,
and having Martine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we're about at 21% serious here at the moment. We're about at 21% serious here at the moment. I've just realised something. If you go through the teams, we've actually got A, B, C, D, E being England, F France. Where do we go from there?
Germany.
There you go. EFG, Germany.
Yeah.
Okay, EFG. H. We get stuck on H.
We got. Oh no, you forgot H. H. Yeah.
But I like it.
I'm gone.
I like the way you've done it.
I've only got 5 fingers.
Yeah. Anyway, so I reckon Brazil great. Anyone disagree? Anyone think they
No,
can?
absolutely. Going to be a good team, I think.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And I'm looking forward to seeing Martine give it a good crack.
So am I, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a great
she holds the curse. She holds the curse.
She does. She's a great human being. She'll come on for a bit of a chat once she's settled into the role, she said. So, Italy, we've heard nothing about the Italian team.
There's Italy, HG, ABCDFG,
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, you're not far off. I just want to talk about the new team. So we know Langford's going in there. I think there's something very clearly that's going to happen. I reckon that the reason Langford made the move is, there's America's Cup tie-in. I reckon there's part of that. That, whether he gets sucked up in...
Jimmy's running it, right? He's not going to be steering.
No.
He's the boss.
Yep.
You'd have to think the young Tito and the young guns from the AC40 are going to slip straight into that boat as well.
Yeah, well, Marco's
that's almost a given.
Marco's in the Middle East right now, so I was looking at so he's just roaming around in the desert having a bit of fun at the moment. So, I think he's there. But yeah, you'd have to think it's going to be that Youth America's Cup team, don't you? Is that what you're thinking, Joe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you? They showed during that America's Cup series racing in the 40s, when there was all the big teams throw in, and Checo and Jimmy stepped off and they put the young guys in the boat to race them, and they got into the final. If it wasn't just for that one bear away and the big nose stuff, they would have really stuck it to them, and they got no fear. They just rip in, and, we see what they did in the youth America's Cup. They were by far the most dominant team in that, in the one design classes. So it's I think they're going to be a pretty decent team.
Okay, I agree.
And Jimmy
I like the
love
Italians.
nothing more to.
Yep.
And they'll do it in style as well, of course.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see what the boat looks like. I'm intrigued.
Their Prada wetsuits.
Prada, yeah.
You got a Prada wetsuit, Jordan?
And I don't.
Could go back to the
They don't make
20.
them in my size.
I was going to say the lettering and have massive font.
And be red in this spacesuit.
What about, all right, so we think Italy are going to be good. I agree, Italy are going to be great. The two new teams are going to be way better than everyone thinks, is my view. The defending champs, Spain.
Spanish.
Gold medals added, so they've got a bit of extra weight on the boat. They've got World Sailor of the Year, even more weight on the boat. Not much change to the team at all, basically. I think Ben Cornish is going to be sailing in Dubai, but that's about the only change. Any views? Spain?
Mate, they'll come bouncing out the blocks for sure.
Red hot?
Plenty of confidence.
Yeah, I think confidence is the thing, isn't it?
I reckon they'll be...
Confidence and stability of that team, bang,
They're smart too. I remember
they're not afraid of the other teams anymore.
No,
that's the big thing. You look at this fleet, and if you look at Spain coming in, they were kids up against the Ainsleys and the Slingsbys and these people that have been around for a while, and there's a level of intimidation that had to have been there. Now they're going to be the intimidators a bit.
A little bit, yeah. I think you're right, BP. And they got the boat worked out, and that combination of Diego and Florian, they're red hot, smart. They're great sailors. Like I think we said it multiple times during the year last season, just saying how smart they were sailing, how impressive they were. Nothing's going to change there. They're coming in feeling it. I actually think they're looking very much top of the tree. Those blokes. It's my view. Nothing.
Remember the first press conference when Diego walked in and he was literally starry-eyed. He said, I've got your poster on my wall, Ben. And Tommy was there, and he was literally looking at him as like and then all of a sudden he had to go out and shape up against these other teams. But now that's gone. These boys can walk through the boat park with a bit of strut, and they've got the trophy in their cabinet. And other teams are looking at them going, oh, shit, these aren't the young kids anymore.
Yeah.
Good on them.
France, no real change to the French team as far as I'm aware. They're going to have a new boat. They've got a bit more funding at the moment. They're not fully funded from what I understand, but they do have some more funding. They were very close to.
I think that French will be just fine out the back of the cup. Similar names on the boat. Plenty of time on the water outside of the SailGP. So I think they're going to be just fine. They'll definitely be kicking off where they started. And let's remember that was knocking on the podium's door.
Yeah, they got very close. Yeah.
That was an expensive tack for them, wasn't it?
It was very expensive tack, but they were right there.
That one tack has absolutely, if they didn't do that, I mean, we're all got PhD in hindsight, but if they didn't do that, they tacked early, they got on the inside, and they got over that finish line, all of a sudden they could have been in the final, all of a sudden they could be the champs, all of a sudden the whole thing changes. And
all of a sudden the funding comes rolling in. It's all,
Quintan learned a valuable lesson 2 years ago when Ben boxed him out of the, he manhandled him out of that final or out of that final position in the last race, and the GBR got into it. Now he's done this to himself where he's screwed up a tack, at the most critical time. I'm wondering whether he's got a little bit of a emotional baggage that hangs around a little bit. I'm not sure if they will come out super confident in New Zealand once they get their boat, or whether they'll be trying to prove a point or what. That's got to hang on your head that they were so close.
Yeah,
to absolutely changing everything up. Or and he was very disappointed going out of the cup when they did. I listened to some of his interviews, and he wanted to get deeper into the cup, but he said, we are a new team, we are building, we are solid, all that sort of stuff, saying all the right things. But, we all know what these guys and girls are like, and I'm just wondering whether he's going to have a little bit of baggage that he needs to get rid of pretty quick to get back into, we all know they were really strong in the breeze, the French, so they're going to turn up in New Zealand. Hopefully it's windy, and they might come in and win the event.
New wheels.
He's had now two big, you can't call them failures. What would you call them? Lessons, I guess. Ben teaching him one in San Fran to get in out of the final, and then obviously screwing up. And that was their own doing. That was no one else's mistake except for their own, where they just got it completely wrong. And that's got to be biting at them. That's got to be, you can't just turn that off. I don't think you can. It's got to always be there. The what ifs have got to be there.
Yeah.
We keep saying how important it is to have your team, and front, basically same team coming back, and they were good. So you'd have to think that they may actually be able to stand up against a few others. New Zealand, we've sort of talked about. Where do we think they're going to be the same? Really, Leo in for Andy. That's about the only change. BP's fallen asleep. I think he's ready for his bedtime.
Kiwis will be strong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Podium for sure.
They're always thereabouts.
Yeah, Hungy.
Okay.
Well,
Denmark.
I think we said last time in the debrief, the New Zealanders, sorry guys, that they had a point to prove. I think they've got even a bigger point to prove this time, because they were by far the most dominant team last year.
Yep.
And
but
then
didn't
they just
walk home with
get it right.
Money. Correct.
In their final race, So
yeah,
and that's the unfortunate setup about SailGP. The skippers have had plenty to say about it. It all comes down to that final race, but being consistent throughout the year doesn't guarantee you're going to have the trophy at the end of the day. And Pete and Blair and the team have to really have a good look at themselves as well and say, well, where did it all go wrong on that final day? Yeah. And they were the most dominant team by far last year.
Yep.
Yet they're not the champions.
You can't help thinking that they underestimated Spain.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, BP.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just eyes on the Australians. That's
I don't think Australia underestimated Spain. I think New Zealand were just focused on Australia.
Yeah.
And
mistake. You can't do that. That is one of the weaknesses of that 3-boat final. One boat always gets left alone, and it's always the boat that's left alone that sort of seems to win. Denmark, they've got a maybe not. They are hinting that they've got a new big signing coming. They haven't said.
Gone back to D.
Hey,
We've gone back to D.
Well, I'm not going alphabetically. I'm just going randomly. I'm picking interesting.
That's my problem.
Yeah, I think
Now you've set me up
mathematically, not
random.
alphabetically, mate. So good team, solid team. They reckon that I think they've got a new coach as well.
If you're talking about stability, you'd have to say that they're there with stability, don't you?
Well, I'm intrigued as to who their new big signing is. They're saying that they've got a new big signing. It could be the Seagull.
As in what, a sponsor or a person?
No, a person. New sailor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't announced it.
And who's the new coach? Was it Nico, the coach?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right.
And
so
Nico was the coach. You look at the website and they've got pretty much driver, strategist, wing trimmer, flight controller, grinder. Sounds like BP's account. Sorry, BP.
Scrolling
Sorry,
through
mate.
the apps.
Just scrolling through the apps.
Okay.
under the bus.
So
Bloody good one.
where are they going to? They're going to get rid of the most beautiful man in yachting and throw him in the wing. Are they going to get rid of Rasmus in the flight control? This big name signing, that's intriguing, Jordan.
Well, I don't know.
What's going to happen there?
I don't know. I haven't been told. I've just said big. I've heard big name signing. Anyway,
I see Marty Kirketerp's off the team. So,
I mean, they were always a team that's there, eh? They were always in that fourth.
top five.
Sponsors extremely happy.
Like Port Power.
They're a great bunch of human beings. Like in terms of from a sponsor perspective, the sponsors love them. You know, Nikolai is he's a great leader. He's doing a great job. So it's a happy team. I'm interested how it all play out, but they definitely want to win. Okay, but they're not feeling any pressure.
I'm putting them on the podium.
Yeah, they could be.
I reckon this is their year.
Okay.
Will be cool. We'll hold you to that too. What are you going to do if they don't?
I'm just going to say Tommy Johnson will know this particular line, but they need to get a bit of I can't say the C word.
Yeah, you can.
Into them.
Bit of mongrel. They need to mongrel
like
up.
mongrel.
Yeah.
Into
Get a bit of mongrel about them. You reckon?
Yeah. There you go.
I agree. A little bit more hard.
It's not a sport for nice guys. You're saying.
Yeah.
Nice girls and guys.
Yeah. Canada. Now this is an interesting one because this is one of the first big signing where we've got Giles Scott has come in and Phil Robertson is off the boat. Phil Robertson's had an amazing record with SailGP where he jumps on a boat and they go fast, right? That team goes to the front. And I can tell you from being on the cans, listening to all the races, I can jump on any boat when the racing's on. I listen in on any boat I want. Phil is really, really, really good on a boat in terms of keeping everyone happy and keeping the team sort of happy. He's got the opposite of short man's disease, and he's
he got your disease.
He's just a good guy on the boat, from what every time I've dialed in, that's what I hear. Giles is coming into a strong team, but quite different personalities. They'll be able to see Giles for one. They won't all have to duck down. But what do we think?
The poor strategist, she's not going to see nothing. She's going to have this 7-foot tower in front of her. She's just going to be going, oh, great. All I can see is Giles written on the back of the Rashi. So, anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be like him and CJ have got a bit of connection there, Jordan.
Yep. Yeah.
What's
Phil going to do we think?
That's a massive loss to
Is he the big signing to Denmark?
Well, I think SailGP are poorer, not just the Canadian team. SailGP are poorer for Phil going.
Personality-wise,
he was a personality in
I'll get that
all
too.
the press conferences. How many sound bites did we get about Phil? And if there was something to be wound up, and Phil was always amongst it. Whether he liked it or not. And I think you're going to miss Phil not being in SailGP somewhere. Hopefully he can find his way back in there, because I think he was great for the league, not just for that team. And he's been through 4 teams. and he put his sprinkle through them all. But SailGP, Phil really fitted SailGP really well, and I'm a bit sad to see him gone, to be honest.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, here, I concur.
Somebody, I can't believe he's not in the team. It's hard to believe, but
he might coach, mate. He might come back as a coach.
Yeah, he could be.
He could go to the Swiss
to be a coach
with his Alinghi ties, maybe.
Yeah. So, I don't know much about what's happening in the remainder of the team. So, Switzerland, I know they got Stu Dodson come in from Spain, but that's about it. You think that there's going to be a lot happening with the Swiss team? I've heard there's supposed to be a lot happening, but I don't know anything. Does anybody know anything?
No, nothing heard.
I find it weird with the Swiss. Like, you had Nathan at the end of the year, just to cover the role and to keep the team building.
Yep.
That was their mantra. That was, we want to try and keep this core group of people going, and we'll get Nathan in, less interruption, all that sort of stuff. Coach the thing. Off season comes and they just completely change. Completely. Like, there's not much about this current team that was about last year, and you think, Jesus, are they then hitting the reset button again?
Yep.
Like that seems a bit weird to me, but time will tell.
We'll see.
All I've seen is they've got a new coach, who
Nathan's not involved.
Torres.
Hey,
Nathan's definitely not involved
in the Swiss team. Yep.
He is jumping on his catamaran, mate, and he is sailing that thing. Bought a new boat, and he's sailing that thing, cruising that thing back to New Zealand for the next 12 months. I can absolutely guarantee you that. He said he doesn't want to be a part-timer. And I get it, I get it.
Yeah, hunch. Yeah.
So, what's what boat did he buy? What's he sailing?
A Fontaine. He actually got the Tiahora, the foiling AC-75. So he's got him and Jack on one side, and Charlie and Emma are going to be on the other, and he's going to cruise back across from Barcelona. He said he's only taken 4 days.
Yeah,
so, he's got the weather window right, and he's going to turn up in New Zealand.
As long as he stays in,
he's got plenty of time for fishing.
As long as he stays in front of the front, he'll be right.
Yeah, he's been teaching Jack and Charlie how to do the trimming. So and Emma's going to be on the port side wheel. So he said, as long as I'm going starboard everywhere, I'll be sweet.
I love it. Yeah. So Nathan's out.
They brought Arno Sarafagis in, Stewie Dodson. There's a lot of changes in that team. Matty Gottrell, he's left the GBR team and he's come across. So there's a lot of changes for a team that was looking at stability last year. I don't get it. Anyway, we'll see.
We'll see. Germany, any background? I've got nothing.
I think they're fairly solid still, aren't they?
I don't know.
I think they haven't changed too much.
We'll wait and see. USA, they made lots of changes mid-season last year. I wonder if they'll. I suspect they're just going to stay. They may make a change or two, but it'll be likely a US sailor. But yeah, not too much to be heard from the USA at this stage. But I've heard nothing.
I reckon they've got the most pressure on them.
Yep, they're going to have heaps of pressure.
They got pressure. They're doing lots of training camp. Like when you follow some of those guys on the social, a lot of training camps.
Yep.
Like you can almost feel that pressure is now like we've actually got to do something about it.
Yep.
So they're, leaving no stone unturned.
Yep. I get on.
They're like the, what would you call it? The USA would be the flagship of SailGP, I guess.
Yep.
Larry's an American. The whole thing was, it's Oracle, all that
franchise
sort of
setups. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they've been going like bastards, mate. They have. They've been going like bastards, and coming last, and they've done some changes.
World's biggest key positions, size.
So they got. I reckon they're the team out of everyone that has got the most pressure on them this year to really pull their finger out of their blur.
Yeah. So they
got to start.
They get the most pressure award leading into season.
Pressure award, and the winner goes to before the year starts.
The Crockpot Award.
Okay,
it's the USA.
We'll see what happens. No major change. Lots of pressure. I'm not sure how it'll play out, but we'll see. And then the last team to mention is the British team. So big change, obviously. Ben stepped down last season. Giles Scott came in. Now Giles has gone to Canada. And we get the return of young Dylan Fletcher, who chose to join the GBR team, did a fantastic job for the British team in the AC. I think we all saw how well he sort of fell in. He has sailed these boats before. I think season 1 he was the British boat. So he's back in the role, but I think he's exuding a whole heap of confidence when you talk to him. He's a super cool guy to chat to. What do we reckon? There was plenty of attempts at poaching, I think, from the British team. There was a lot of people. Maybe not just Giles was going to go, but that team is pretty loyal. So the big step in is Dylan. It could have been another female skipper, but they went with Dylan, and I understand why.
Yeah, I think Dylan coming from season 1, he was the first to hit officially 50 knots. Remember in when we were racing in Cows, signed the boat, and it stirred the boys up a bit. But he's obviously sailed these things before. He's coming in now with a cracking team with Goobs and Parko and Hannah. He had a good team in season 1.5 that he did before Ben bought it and took the reins. But since then he's won a Moth World title. He's won an Olympic gold medal. And like you said, Jordan, he's stepped into an AC role, took Giles Scott's role, which was everyone was really blown away by that. We all thought that Giles was going to be the other helm and Ben give Dylan the go. And he's going to step into this thing. It's going to be very familiar territory to him with a really good team around him. Like you said, they're very, very loyal and very, very solid. There has been a fair bit of poaching going on in and around the ranks, but everyone's decided to stay, which is great for them. And they'll be there or thereabouts, no doubt.
I do notice they're the only team who look quite thin when you look at the team on the website. They've only got 6 names mentioned, so maybe they're keeping their powder dry a little bit. Whereas most of the other teams have got 8, 9 people on the roster.
Yeah, I think potential reserves. The British team's probably well placed for potential reserves, but we'll see.
Freddie Carr might end up back on the handles now that he's retired.
Stopped having to ride his bike. Exactly.
He could do worse than that. Let me tell you.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't appear as some sort of guest role somewhere if needed.
Yeah. Good call.
But no, I think GBR. I think they'll be up there really pushing. Dylan's got a bit of unfinished business to be frank.
You look at the talent there; it's one of the best on the race course.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll and he got sort of not unceremoniously dumped by Ben, but Ben bought the team and rightly so decided to change it up when that happened. But now he's back and he can. I reckon he'll go hammer and tongs. I'd say look out for the GBR.
Well, he's
team.
matured, right? He's matured and he's got all this experience under his belt. And you could clearly see how he communicated with Ben, so well, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do. It's Ben's used to, sailing boats on his own, and but he got through to that and made that communication channel work.
Yeah, and he's a gold medalist, and he's a Moth World title, so he's not just a young kid that's been given he's earned this opportunity again, and he's going to have a strut on him as well. So I can see them doing good things.
All right.
Okay. So what's next, Jordan Spencer? You're heading to Dubai.
Yep.
The Doobs.
Yep.
with a cigarette and a lighter, just in case. You need to deliver it back to Wongi.
I
Can
think
we have a quick chat about the format? Remember last year we talked about
of you running down the main street of Wangi with a cigarette up your ass.
No, it's just going to be light and go. That's simple to do. But the racing format. Remember last year we talked about how it's always the same racetrack.
Yeah.
And always the same. I've had another bright idea as I drive around. Doing nothing. The final, I think you mentioned it before, Jordan, or it might have been BP, said something about in the final, once you get in front, it's pretty much game over. The other boats then just tackle over each other.
Mm.
How would you think about a 3-boat final, first to 2 races?
Yeah.
Right. So that could end up all over in 2, or it could go to 5.
Yeah.
Like if it could go to 4. Everyone wins a race, and then the 4th race is the decider, or one boat could go bang, bang, or whatever. You know what I mean? I think it just would add a bit more. They could almost have 2 race days and then a final day or something like that.
What it would do is stop you hunting your preferred opposition. You know what I mean? Everyone, the three of them would be there vying for first, rather than worrying about.
I'd like to throw in, if you're leading the round robin into it, you actually go into it with 1 point as well.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
So you could get a potential beat up on that particular boat in the first race.
The first race is 2 on to 1, no question.
I
Knock him out.
That. I love that. That's a cracker.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean,
I don't know.
It doesn't fit their TV format at the moment. I doubt they'll do it, but that is a good one where BP, like as you said, or Bice, they'll start beating up on the guy with the one race. Like it'll be a 2-on-1 match.
It'll be a secret meeting against the 1-pointer.
They'll just sort out the complete width of the T4 and just drive it down the road like a big truck going sideways.
Yeah.
No one can get around.
I love it. Well, I don't see it happening, but yeah, it could be something interesting.
Maybe just hit Russ up next week, Jordan.
Talking on the shoulder. Goodbye, Jordan.
We've had some chatting on Barkarati, and this is what we've come up with.
On your private chat with Russ.
Yeah, I was just going to say Jody's closer to Russ than I am. I'll tell you that right now.
Idea.
Jody's way closer to Russ. I don't think.
Is that why you're still got a job?
I think he's lost. Yeah, I think Russell's lost my number. Okay. Russell, if you're out there, ring me, mate. Ring me. Where are you? I haven't spoken to you.
I'm lonely.
Come on.
I may be a little Barkarati-esque in my approach. I like to make sure that everyone's having fun, and I don't think Russ thinks I'm the greatest human being on the planet. Is my gut feel, but it doesn't matter.
Mate, you're still working there, so something's going all right. Let me tell you.
What about predictions? Let's finish off with anyone want to throw their hat in the ring. I'll give you some head starts on this. So Stevie Morrison, he's put it out there with Spain winning, New Zealand second, and Australia third. The Poms fourth, Denmark fifth. Lisa Darmanin, sorry, Lisa. New Zealand in first. Australia second, the Poms third, Spain fourth, France fifth. Interesting. Anybody want to jump onto that?
I'm going to sit in Spain's corner because they're young and they're hot.
Mm-hmm.
No one expected them. We knew they were going to be a good team last year.
Mm-hmm.
We knew they were growing, but we didn't expect them to do what they did. And there was luck in their side with the last race, but I think they've got a massive amount of confidence now.
Yeah.
And you've only got to look at the Olympics. You've got 2 guys that are gelling together perfectly.
Yep.
I've got the Poms, Italians, Kiwis, Aussies, maybe Spain, with the Kiwis for the win.
Interesting. The Kiwis red hot. What about you, Joe?
Should fire you up. One for Sam Newton, that should fire you up, mate.
Yeah.
I think New Zealand, Spain, probably Great Britain.
Yeah.
Would be pushing. And then, obviously Australia, France, Italy. Italy's going to be the unknown. I think,
But what we are all saying is the demise of Australia.
Yep.
No, not really.
I don't know.
They're definitely top three, for sure.
In there, but
yeah. I think it'll all obviously, Captain Obvious here, depend on how well Draper and Tommy gel off the park, which will relate to how good they'll go on the park. When the chips are down and the red mist starts firing, that's when we're really going to see how that team reacts. And Tommy's probably one of the most competitive guys out there, and he demands success. He's said it 1,000 times. He demands success, nothing more or nothing less. So that will be the Aussies have got a bit on. I think the Aussies might have a bit on. Big loss, I think, the Seagull.
Yep. I agree.
No one's mentioned Italy though.
Yeah.
I think Italy's
got
the
Italians in there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, Italy could come in. Brazil could come in, but I'm the same. I think I don't see Australia winning. I do think it's likely the Kiwis, potentially Spain, and Brits and France will probably. Yeah, Denmark as well. Geez, Denmark could be there too. It's going to be I think the winner will probably be New Zealand. But, in terms of the racing, there's going to be it's even going to be tighter and even more close. The one thing we do have to remember though, New Zealand were dominant last season. The Aussies got a heap of penalty points. So did the Kiwis actually, when you think back. I think the domination, I've got to be careful how I say this. How do I say this? Organisation would have been happy to see somebody other than Australia win last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what one of the unknown is? You touched on it there when the Kiwis blew their wing out and the Aussies had some breakages. We were lucky enough to have two boats sitting in a shed somewhere in the world that we could grab parts from.
Yep.
That now is gone.
There's nothing spare. Yep.
Because all the boats are getting used. There's no spare hulls and platforms and wings and stuff lying around getting built for future teams. So if we do see an incident like we've seen with the Kiwis blowing a rig or the Aussies blowing over the top of a start-finish boat and destroying their boat, that could have massive consequences for the season because there ain't no spares, baby. The spares cupboard is empty.
How many boats will be still going by the last leg there? Last event, that's the thought.
Righto, what's the last race? That's back to, what is it?
Middle East.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah.
Is my prediction. Because we come off the back of, where are we? Taranto, Geneva. Taranto could be windy. Geneva, unknown. Cadiz, good. Then we go into the Middle East. Yeah, I'm thinking 9 boats.
Yep. Interesting. Love it.
Boys, throw a number.
Hold it. Oh, no, they'll have full contingent for sure.
Oh, good on you.
Whether they've got falls or rigs, that's a different story.
They might have they'll have your little turbo button, Bicey.
They'll have me little electric motor.
Yeah.
They'll be going around just using that.
Yeah.
BP, have you got any spare far
X2s?
X2s floating around?
Got a handful.
Mate, just leave them handy, will you?
Yeah, no worries.
I'd like to join a couple of windsurfer rigs between them and send them out on the SailGP course.
No stress.
All right. Okay,
Cool.
well, great info, Jode. Really appreciate the input, mate. It's been a ton of fun, as it always is. Thank you for getting up so early on your Sunday morning. I know you.
Well, we probably ran over. You're going to miss church as well.
That's right.
Yeah, I've sent a non-attendance to the pastor this morning, so he'll miss me.
Yep.
Well,
Anyway,
he's right. At least we'll have some wine left.
Yeah, yeah, there's that. But he would have made allocated a solid 20 minutes in this morning speech about you.
Absolutely,
Morning sermon.
absolutely. The up and coming
I'd like to go to
imitator.
3.1 Jody Shiels.
yeah, I don't think so somehow. But anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure once again. Thank you for inviting me onto the world's best sailing podcast, Bar Karate. And I've been loving your work. Been awesome, and looking forward to what you've got coming up in the future.
Nice, mate.
Good on you,
Thanks,
buddy.
Jody.
Cheers.
Chat soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers, bud. Always a healthy discussion, isn't it? SailGP. But after the mics were turned off, we were like, oh shit, we didn't give the Seppos much love, did we? It's all about the personalities. It's about this, it's about that.
Yeah.
But it's gonna make for a good season. 14 events, 12 boats, a lot of races. So
And T-foils.
yeah, T4. We'll be watching with interest. Not only watching, but you'll be there, Jordan.
Yeah.
You'll be there, like reporting.
Yep.
Well, he'll be there praying for 15 knots of breeze. So
Yeah, just to get Jody running down the street with a burner up his.
Yeah.
burner up his bunger.
It's actually a pretty good little event to go to. Because
seeing Jody
imagine.
run up the street with a burner.
yeah,
Up.
Craig David.
yeah, no, because it's where the boats come and
yearly
turn right
event.
off the wall. You get as close as you possibly can. If a bit of breeze is on, it'll be just fantastic. And all the crew we all stay on the QE2 hotel, which is the old QE2. And so there's nothing around, like you're on a wharf somewhere. So everyone hangs out together. There's a hidden
Well, it should be. Yeah.
there's a hidden bar in there. It's good fun. All right. Other news, just going on to events. Before we do, we want to follow up on this a bit more, but we got this. I do want to highlight an element. We got an email about a guy called Simon Liddington. Now he is a moth sailor and wanted to talk about the Moth Nationals coming up, but we got this beautiful email and we got a video and we got all sorts of stuff. We had no idea, but Simon has passed now, but he sort of went through this period of losing his sight, and then he lost his balance and cognitive function, and then he was diagnosed with something called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, CJD, which is a brain disease. And it hit him hard and quickly, and the video is quite emotional.
Heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching, yeah. And we feel for...
But in one way, but in another way, sort of was positive. It was interesting.
It was really interesting. And he talked about his love for bar karate, which... that's why we got the video. He talked about that. It touched all of us, this video, and we're going to do something on it in a few weeks. Okay, we're going to come back to this because there is GoFundMe for the family and a few things that we do want to promote. But the Moth Nationals are coming up on Lake Macquarie this week, actually, and his brother is going to sail his boat. Simon's boat. So I just thought we should probably highlight that. So with the Moth Nationals coming up, there is going to be this sort of
remembrance
of someone that a lot of people seem to have loved. So we'll reach out to his wife Holly and have a bit of a chat about how we're going to approach this and what we'd like to share. But we'd like to try and support the family and and go from there. But it was really, really interesting. So if I don't know, I really I feel like I've muffed this whole discussion, but I do think it's. I just wanted to mention it.
You can't write a script for this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, just reiterating that it's quite a touching video. And tell Simon's family and friends heartfelt condolences.
Yeah.
Tough times.
Tough times. The other events that are coming up of St. Barth, the Catter Cup, that's an interesting one. I don't know if you guys have caught up with that one.
I had a quick little scroll through.
Yeah.
basically a bunch of catamarans in St. Bart's, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
Cheap
it.
venue. Cheap venue.
Yeah, cheap.
So a good place to go. Looks like a pretty cool place, cool things to do. Going fast, going sailing, getting wet in the trades, beautiful.
Yeah. They should actually just do it up here off Mooloolaba, but be great fun. That's on this week, so I think that if you're interested, just jump on the line and find out about that one. Bird Island race has been underway, I think, as we speak. So plenty of
Bird Island. I think, what did I see? URM took line honours. Master Lock Comanche pulled out with some mainsail damage quite early into the race.
Yep.
Last I saw Caro with the clubhouse leaders and IRC.
Okay.
So,
cool. With speaking of people we've lost that and just disappeared on us quickly, with our friend Jack Lloyd. So it's Jack Lloyd, Listener of the Week. Obviously every month our friends at Vycobi, who are having a massive Black Friday sale as we speak.
Black Friday sale. Get on board, everyone.
Get on board. If you want to stock up, it's on. And then the new sun shirts will be out next month. Vycobi are providing a $200 voucher for the Listener of the Month. So just jump on board if you haven't got anything. We got a lot of test rig discussions around on the back of Langford.
Back of the Seagull. Departing.
We got some classic stuff. Austin Wade sent some images off Clarice Kremer's boat where she was a typical Frenchie. She's still cooking scrambled eggs for brekkie and got the toast out, although Clarice, don't cut the way she was cutting that toast on her lap, holding the bread on her lap and cutting down. I'm going, there's arteries on the top of your leg there. You don't do that. But anyway, I was a bit nervous for her.
Only a butter knife, Joe.
It didn't look like a butter knife, my friend.
Oh, no, I'm only joking.
I was very nervous watching it. Nick Madison, did you guys see that one on Instagram?
Oh, mate, that's been doing the rounds since Nick sent that through. Basically, starting a Land Rover with a snatch strap, just on the almost replicating a hill start, let's call it. But yeah, so now obviously my algorithms have picked up on it. Yeah. So I've got that about 1,000 times, along with dwarfs doing stuff and a whole bunch of different things. Algorithms are going well, not to mention bring back the rainbow.
What are you doing with dwarfs, dude?
Well,
might have to cut that bit.
Speaking of algorithms,
it's been the funniest part of the whole show, to be honest.
Speaking of algorithms, Denise, one of our friends, Denise Del Mundo from Canada or Canada, she said, I hope everyone is enjoying all the ridiculous crop things that come the way these days. Obviously, everything she's getting them because she'd been sending us a few and now they pop up.
That's right.
Non-stop. She sent us a link to Sails to Shelter, which is to they take old sails off like racing boats and super yachts and stuff and turn them into shelters for humanitarian aid. So they get, people will donate their sails.
They have a different slant on it, isn't it? Because for the last 20 years, people are making sail bags and, handbags and all that sort of stuff, thinking it's a major business, but it never really takes off. But this is an interesting one, this one.
Yeah. So I think the thing was that she said, look, I'm not sure if Nick is only in the new rig business or if he in particular has clients that are doing refits, etc., or whatever contacts that the rest of us have got. Maybe any sales that we can find, just reach out to that company, which again is sailtoshelter.org. sailtoshelter.org. And if you want to donate some old gear, they can use it and provide shelters for people. So, there's a whole bit of discussion around doing, on a personal note, I was invited by Ashley Love of T2P TV to put a Canadian team together to do a J105 regatta. and came mid-fleet in a competitive fleet, thanks to generous owner. And so thrilled to be on a more competitive boat. Happy the Vendee is on so I can get a fix of sailing while we are landlocked until April. We forget about that for Canada. They don't get...
Oh, yeah, forget about it,
Yeah, well, that's it. I've got a boat up there and I know that it's heading to Vancouver for the boat show, but that's about it. Then down to Tampa.
Yeah, right.
So,
okay.
Nice.
yeah, that's it. It's like it's covered in ice.
You don't go ice boating?
Not just yet, but covered in definitely cold weather.
Right. All right. So they're the letters. We won't pick any winners out of that this week, but we've got a. If you want to do, just send us some letters. Letters. Jesus, I do it all. Send any message to us at
email.
Cheers at
Or
darkparty.com.
why don't you send a fax? Send us a fax.
Send a fax or send a self-addressed envelope to 165 Rue de Corgo, Portugal, Vila de Conde.
Locked bag, 999. Process.
All our childhood memories coming out in that one. That was good. I like it. All right.
It's hot time with Bice.
Just in my Japanese room.
Yeah.
Just in my leisure wear.
Going back there, you concubine. Hey?
Yeah. The just refresh the tracker. What time is it? So it's Saturday evening European, Sunday morning Australian, let's say. Jean Le Cam leading the Vendee Globe.
Oh, there you go.
Literally about to get smacked in the head with a shovel, though.
Yep.
In a big massive light air spot. With the, let's call it the majority of the fleet kind of making their way west. I believe you're looking at let's go back.
But aren't we
Race
saying
start
that
last week, zero wind. So everyone got away, drifted away, bit of breeze came in, nice little slide through the Bay of Certain Death. Then they started getting some breeze around Finisterre and started motoring.
It's good a start to an event as possible. Yep.
And we've had a week of racing, and we've seen that single-handed 24-hour run been abolished.
Yep,
545?
546.6 miles in 24 hours to Nicholas Lundven.
Lundven
on the
PRB, Wholesome.
Yep.
Who currently they had the record in the Volvo, the Ocean Race too,
That's
right?
Yeah,
Same boat.
the crude record,
Had the crude version.
I loved his...
So...
he did hardly any manoeuvres. Like you could see everyone was jibing and he's just gone out there and he's just... no sail changes, nothing. It's just
smoked it out beautifully. Sam Goodchild the curse stepped out in the first week for him. He did some nice time in front of the fleet, but there's a nice little kind of group going with all those guys together, guys and girls for that matter, who are now starting to head west just to try and pick their way south through the Atlantic. So, we're only a week in. But it's all which it's been, what it's meant to be.
I must admit, though, when a couple of days ago when that easterly option sort of started presenting, it was so very tempting. It looked like it was going to be awesome. And I must admit, I was sitting there going, oh, man, go down the bloody African coast, she's a chance here.
Yeah.
And it's still a chance.
That's why you didn't win.
Ocean
Race, my friend. And that's why Conrad and John Le Cam will be about a week behind.
I know.
By the time they get to cut around Cape Horn.
But there is still a chance.
Not Cape Horn.
Cape of Good Hope.
Yeah. Those that go into the west look like they're going to rip away now. Exactly right. But there is still a chance if they can jump across. I mean, it looks ugly now on the east, but if they do come across to get back west, it looks like they might have a pretty good run back to the west. We'll see. We'll see. But
but there's a lot of medicine to take there.
Yeah, there is. But the whole fleet's all bunched up. What are they? They're like all within 150 mile of each other. Basically, everyone's just bunched up right there. So it looks like the start again almost. It's pretty interesting.
It's a restart after the week. But you're right. If Conrad and Jean Le Cam can kind of just slide down into that little close to that exclusion zone.
Yeah.
Off the African coast, there's a little bit there, but they've got to get west at some point.
But then, I mean, they don't have to. The others are going to go west. They're going to come south on the nose a little bit, and I reckon these guys could just drift across west on a reach. But we'll see. I think you're right. I think they're going to miss out. But it looked pretty awesome a couple of days ago. It looked real potential. But it's getting across the equators on the eastern side is very difficult.
John LeCam doesn't care, mate.
So have you been watching much of the?
He's going okay.
You've been watching much of the footage off the boats?
Yeah.
I get a little update, watch the odd video here and there, but it's all pretty nice, pretty good.
It's relaxed,
happy going.
What it's meant to be. We've had one retiree.
Yeah,
at the
that
moment.
was a bit sad. Yeah,
Maxime Sorel, was he like 10th during the last race or something?
Yeah,
so a bit disappointing for him. But so that's current Sitchy in Vendee World, boys, boys and girls.
Yeah, it's very cool. Anything else you got, Bossy?
Well, the only quick one to mention, the Sailing Grand Slam.
Yeah.
It's basically everything that we've all been dreaming for, that it's an actual event being sailed and it should be easy to access results and common websites and blah, 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 all those sorts of things. So let's actually see how that pans out.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be in the Southern Hemisphere if you're to be part of this Grand Slam, that's for sure. Where they go, so it's the Princess Sophia Regatta in Spain. You got here in France. You got Dutch Water Week. That's what you're there for, isn't it, Boss?
Yes, that's it.
Some call it water, yeah. Water of the gods.
It's got water in it anyway.
Kielewaka, so Kiel Week, and then Long Beach Olympic Classes Regatta. So, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. But congratulations, everyone pulling that together. I think that's about the gist of it, isn't it? There's nothing else beyond that, but all that.
No, I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
Could this be our longest episode ever?
I think it's
going to go close.
Way long.
Yeah, but I think that I didn't want to...
Just have to listen to it in a few parts.
Yeah, I didn't want to stop the discussion on SailGP. It's good. And we did a long one on the Vendee as well. So there's so much happening. Apologies, but I think most people are pretty happy with it. Most people listen to Barkarati on road trips.
If not, send money.
Send money. If you're unhappy, just let us know. That's how we know. If
we're broke.
Just send us money. All right. I think that's us, boys.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, come on. Put the music on.
Put the music on? Yeah, I'm not your performing monkey, mate. What do you think? I'm just going to have music ready and to go?
And
our goodbyes sometimes are as long as the show.
Shout out to Karen Robson, who's just finished a regatta. She'll be listening to this on her drive home.
Yep.
So, there you go.
Yep. Winner of the
good one, guys.
Good chatting. Listener of the month last month. Right. Cool. Now, obviously, send anything you want to us at cheers@barkarati.com.
Especially cash.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't send that. We'll send your bank details.
Our bank account details. Remember,
send bank details so we can pay them.
Remember, if you want to grab some of that Radix Nutrition designed to support healthy metabolism, jump onto the Radix Nutrition website. Use the term bar or the discount code BARKARATE, one word, and you get a discount on us. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks for putting up to my two idiot mates, and I hope that we'll all see you next week. I think we're all overseas next week, so I'm not sure how we're going to pull an episode together, but we'll give it a red hot go.
Yeah, we'll pull an episode together. We've got someone in the wings.
Have we? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. It's just us.
Yeah, we're the problem. I know that. Come on.
Okay.
See you later.
There was.